had no more business for glory, and for the world it was a trifle not worth his care. Go, continued he, sighing, and divide it amongst you, and reap with joy what you so vainly prize, and leave me to my more welcome destiny. They then demanded what they should do, and whom he would constitute in his room, that the confusion of ambitious youth and power might not ruin the order, and make them a prey to the enemy. He replied he would not give himself the trouble, but wished them to choose the bravest man amongst them, let his quality or birth be what it would. For, oh, my friends, said he, it is not titles make men brave or good, or birth that bestows courage and generosity, or makes the owner happy. Believe this, when you behold Oroonoko the most wretched, and abandoned by fortune of all the creation of the gods. So turning himself about, he would make no more reply to all they could urge or implore. The army, beholding their officers return unsuccessful, with sad faces and ominous looks that presaged no good luck, suffered 1,000 fears to take possession of their hearts, and the enemy to come even upon them, before they would provide for their safety by any defence. And though they were assured by some, who had a mind to animate them, that they should be immediately headed by the Prince, and that in the meantime Aboan had orders to command as general, yet they were so dismayed for want of that great example of bravery that they could make but a very feeble resistance, and at last downright fled before the enemy, who pursued 'em to the very tents, killing 'em. Nor could all Aboan's courage, which that day gained him immortal glory, shame 'em into a manly defence of themselves. The guards that were left behind about the Prince's tent, seeing the soldiers flee before the enemy, and scatter themselves all over the plain in great disorder, made such outcries as roused the Prince from his amorous slumber, in which he had remained buried for 2 days, without permitting any sustenance to approach him. But in spite of all his resolutions, he had not the constancy of grief to that degree as to make him insensible of the danger of his army, and in that instant he leapt from his couch and cried, "Come, if we must die, let us meet death the noblest way, and 'twill be more like Oroonoko to encounter him at an army's head, opposing the torrent of a conquering foe, than lazily on a couch, to wait his lingering pleasure, and die every moment by 1,000 racking thoughts, or be tamely taken by an enemy, and led a whining, love-sick slave, to adorn the triumphs of Jamoan, that young victor, who has already entered beyond the limits I have prescribed him." While he was speaking, he suffered his people to dress him for the field, and sallying out of his pavilion, with more life and vigour in his countenance than ever he showed, he appeared like some divine power descended to save his country from destruction, and his people had purposely put on him all things that might make him shine with most splendour, to strike a reverent awe into the beholders. He flew into the thickest of those that were pursuing his men, and being animated with despair, he fought as if he came on purpose to die, and did such things as will not be believed that human strength could perform, and such as soon inspired all the rest with new courage and new order. And now it was that they began to fight indeed, and so, as if they would not be outdone even by their adored hero, who, turning the tide of the victory, changing absolutely the fate of the day, gained an entire conquest, and Oroonoko having the good fortune to single out Jamoan, he took him prisoner with his own hand, having wounded him almost to death. Part 4.